Mindfulness is being present with our experience in the moment as we live it now. It is not about controlling our thoughts or emptying the mind, but about seeing yourself more clearly and beginning to learn how to claim your mind as it is not how you imagined it to be. Mindfulness is not intended as a substitute for consultation and treatment from a qualified, registered healthcare provider. If you have concerns about your mental health or are experiencing problems with your mental health, please do not do the following exercises without the consent of your doctor. Thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Nicky and I'm here today to just give you a brief introduction of mindfulness. We'll be doing a little tiny bit of meditation as well. Very short and sweet. So mindfulness, what is mindfulness? We all live in extremely busy lives at the moment. Days are very, very busy and we can sometimes find ourselves overwhelmed, mind full of what's going to happen or what has happened. So mindful is just being able to give a direct awareness to what we're actually feeling at the present time. What we are feeling, and to be able to tune into the body, to the feelings that we are feeling right there also. So if you can imagine taking a child for a walk, a small child taking a small child for a walk, and they are seeing plants and flowers and looking up at the sky for the very first time. So it's all completely new to them. Imagine that you're teaching them what a flower looks like and to really look at it closely. Well, mindfulness is like that. Mindfulness is a little bit like taking us back from what we know and just really, really looking into things like we've seen them for the first time. So connecting with things like you've seen them for the first time or you're studying them for the first time can just bring you into the present moment and maybe stop our busy chattering mind that's always busy telling us things that need to be done or things that were done. I don't know whether you've ever got in your car to go to work or got in your car to go to the supermarket and you've got there and you've not even remembered the drive there, or maybe you've ended up in a completely different place that you decided to go. That's when we're in automatic pilot. So with mindfulness, we have two modes. We have a doing mode and the being mode. Now the doing mode is important, of course, because things that we learn, like doing up our shoelaces, we don't need to keep relearning how to do them. Also, if we've got to prepare for something or we've got a meeting, we need to be able to use that doing mind to be prepared for the outcome. So it is very important that we have that mind. When it becomes a little bit detrimental to us is when we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit down and we stay continually in that doing mode. So we may be making tea, being on the tea, watching the TV, being on our phone, so many things that we're doing all at the same time, as well as thinking about tomorrow and maybe bringing in a small worry about tomorrow and maybe bringing in a small regret about the past. Before long, those feelings start to make us feel a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit down, and in sometimes can make us feel really, really quite poorly. So what we mainly want to do is to notice when we are in the doing mode, when we're on automatic pilot. And mindfulness to start with, if we can do anything to start with a small piece of information, it's to recognize when you're in that mode, recognize when you're in automatic pilot. For instance, you've made a cup of tea and then you don't know whether you've made it, drunk it, put it somewhere. So all the time you were making that tea and you're putting it down, your mind was consciously overlooking tomorrow or yesterday or anything at all. So what you were actually doing at that time was missed. And you know, by being in the doing mode or the automatic pilot, we do miss out on so much. We do miss out on the beauty that's around us. We do miss out on the days spent worrying. We've all done it. The what if scenarios when we think next Friday I've got this huge meeting or a doctor's appointment, and we have mind dread and we have beaten ourselves up with all the scenarios that could possibly happen. And when it actually comes to what we've gone through, it is nothing like we've built up in our minds. And then if you sit and think about all the hours and all the days that you've missed on enjoying just by being in the doing mode completely, just by thinking you know what's going to happen. So what can we do about it? It's easier said than done. We like to, if we have a thought that comes in from maybe a long time ago, or a thought that we don't like, or we have a worried thought about something, we either sit and dwell on it or we flap it away. We say, oh no, I don't want to think about that a minute, that's too frightening a thought, or don't bring that up again, and we flap it. Now all we do by flapping that thought away is store it. So we store that thought or that fear in our solar plexus. So we may think that we've got rid of it for a little while, but then that thought comes back with legs. I like to think of it as just a silly little scenario of, oh, remember when I fell down one day in front of that one person, and then you flap that thought away, and then the thought comes up again, and you would think, oh, remember when I fell down in front of 5 people, until the thought comes back so many times that you've made up a completely different episode to what actually happened. And that's because it wasn't dealt with in the initial thought. You didn't give it time to register in the mind. And yes, things happen, and yes, things are embarrassing, and yes, things are a worry. But what we need to do is sit with that worry. So what you would do in the being mode, when you find that a thought comes in or a worry comes in, even if you don't know what it is, we don't have to have a reason for it. We can sometimes just have these feelings for no reason at all. So what you would do is put your feet flat on the floor and close your eyes, and imagine that you can send your imagination, or maybe your third eye, whatever it is that you believe in, down into where that feeling in your body is. So you just send your thought down and you just sit with that thought. So you could say to yourself things like, the feeling is in my tummy, the feeling is a little bit like palpitations, or the feeling is in my chest. You just explain to your mind exactly how your body is feeling. It's as simple as that. And you sit with it. And eventually that feeling will lessen. I'm not saying that it'll go away completely, but when it comes back the next time, it won't have grown legs. It won't have grown into that massive fish that you once caught, that you tell everyone was bigger each time. That sort of thing won't happen. So you sit with the thought. You don't even have to like it. You just sit with it, and you just tell yourself, this thought has come in. There's nothing I can do about this thought coming in. It's in my tummy, or it's in my chest. It's making me feel like. You don't question it. You don't say, why is it there? You don't say, I know why this thought is there. We just want to recognize the feeling. So you just sit with that feeling. Almost as if you, like at the beginning when you're that small child walking out and seeing a flower for the first time. So it's almost as if you're feeling this feeling for the very first time. And you really explore it and tell yourself exactly how you feel, where it is in your body. So what I'd like you to do this week in your first little introduction to mindfulness, there are many, mindfulness is probably a 6 to 8 week course, and there are lots and lots of interventions that you can use for when you start to feel emotional or overwhelmed, or you chatter in mind because of the busyness we live in. But as this is just a short snippet, the best thing to do is or a great thing to do actually, is to recognize when you are in the doing mode. So start looking out for it. Make that cup of tea and ask yourself, did you remember putting the kettle on? Did you remember pouring it? Do you remember where that tea is? And find out when your mind starts to drift. When you've found that the mind has started to drift into I've got to pick the children up, or what did I do this morning, or anything that has drifted off, anything that has taken the mind from exactly what you're doing this very, very moment, clock it. And that's the very, very first introduction to mindfulness. For you to be able to clock, I went into my own world, people say, don't they? And it's a good idea to write down what you were doing at that time that you found that you went into automatic pilot. Find out what you were thinking, write that thought down, write what you were doing, and write out how you felt when that thought came. And then just put it away. No one has to see it. And do it often. Do it often, and at the end of the week, have a little look at your writings and see if there's a common denominator or common thread that you find that you think about often. We sometimes don't know. We sometimes don't realise that we have this thought or this idea or whatever. We sometimes don't realise how often it pops into our mind or how often we flap these things away. So that's a good exercise to start off with, is just recognising, whoops, I was time travelling, whoops, I was mind reading, I was thinking about the future, not concentrating on exactly what is happening right now. We only have right now the second. Yesterday's gone. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we need to enjoy the path that we're walking down right now, looking out for every detail of what's happening right now, this very second. So just before we go on to a short meditation exercise, I'd like to talk to you about our thoughts. Obviously we need them, but we are bombarded with thousands and thousands of thoughts in one day, and sometimes they make no sense to us at all. And sometimes our thoughts can be about tomorrow, or sometimes we can make up thoughts in our head that will then progress. So what the thoughts do to our minds will travel on throughout the day. So if you wake up in the morning with a thought about something that may happen today or something that happened a long time ago, that will direct your mood for the whole day, because that thought hasn't been dealt with, if you like. So the spirals of what thought feeds us can keep us in tightly locked up in our own emotions. Overthinking, it gets us stuck. It is really, really not a good thing to do, to just live in your own head, just to explore the emotions like we did at the beginning. And if the thought made no sense to you whatsoever, you literally just think of it on top of your head as whatever you like a thought would look like. Maybe like on the cartoons we have a light bulb moment, and you literally just say thank you for the thought, and you direct it away from your energy fields. We are obviously all connected to energy, so you just ask it to leave. And if that's okay, if that sorts it out, if that thought goes away, all well and good. If you keep coming back, don't swish it, don't say, don't want to think about it, la 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 la, because we store it, as I mentioned. So that again is where we sit and think about the thought. Just think where it is in our body, how it feels, how it's making you feel right now. Even walking your mind all the way through the body in a body scan, which is what I'm going to teach you in a second. So remember that you are not your thoughts. If your thoughts are causing you distress or anxiety, or to think too much, or are getting you stuck in the rut of the same thought, it needs to be dealt with. You need to spend some time. Because we just get gripped in those patterns. And the mind thinks it's doing you a favour. The mind thinks it's getting you ready for the polar bear that's going to come round the corner, and we need to be in fight or flight. The mind's doing you a favour. So the more adrenaline from these anxious thoughts that we give our mind will pump that into the body for us to run. And we just don't need to be in that high alert all the time. We just don't need to. We just need to sit quietly with our thoughts, where they are in our body, and allow them to gently remove themselves from our energy field. So let's talk about the breath a second. We always have the breath. That's the greatest tool that the body has. Deep breathing. We all know it. Take a few deep breaths. We've always said it to people. Sit down, deep breath in, deep breath out. But it is the best way to bring you back into the present moment. Again, remember the present moment is exactly what is happening right here and now. It's difficult for us to do because we've been so used to multitasking. We're so used to doing more than one thing at once, and when we are doing something, thinking about what we do next. So it is quite a challenge to absolutely think of just what is happening. You literally have to say, I am now walking, I am now moving my hands, I am now sitting at my desk, I am now. It basically is just saying what you're doing right now, and it seems a bit tedious, to be honest. It's quite funny, but it does bring you into the present moment, which calms everything down. It stops the thoughts, it stops the what ifs. So how we do that is bringing our mind to the breath. So you can just find yourself a quiet corner and take a deep breath in, concentrating on the breath in and concentrating on the breath out. Maybe you can count for 10, maybe 6 in, 4 out, 3 in, 7 out. Anything that's making you think about what is happening right now. Anything that takes your mind away from what is affecting the body right now. So you just sit and breathe. Taking a breathe in, notice how the diaphragm moves. You can even bring in the hands, breathe in, breathe out. You can even say, breathe in calm, breathe out anxiety. You can say those words. All of those things are bringing you into the present moment. So we're going to go now on to the meditation, which will bring in a breathing exercise. Now what you find with this meditation is that those thoughts keep coming in. They're constant. They really are constant. So when they come in, recognize that they've come in. Recognize that that thought has come in, and bring your mind and body back to your breathing. Every time you can do that, give yourself a really good cheer and pat on the back, because that shows that you are mindful. It shows that you're mindful that your mind has gone elsewhere, and it will do over and over and over again. But the more you meditate, the more you concentrate on your breathing, and the more mindfulness practice that you do, you'll find that you start slipping into the doing mode much easier. Your life will become so much more comfortable. And yes, we're going to have days when things happen which are sad. But again, sit with them. Sit with your thoughts. Don't give them a head in. Don't say I'm feeling this way because of. Just sit with them, close your eyes, and just sit. Notice where they are, how they're feeling. Breathe into them. You may be able to imagine a colour that you can breathe in, and bit by bit you can make that thought or that worry smaller. Our minds are amazing. Our minds are pure brilliance. If you think that we can become afraid of something as simple as going to the cinema, we know that that isn't real. We saw something in the cinema about a clown, and now we're afraid of clowns. Well, we know that that isn't real, but our minds have done it. So if we can train our minds to be frightened of things that aren't real, imagine what we can train them to do for us to live a healthy, relaxed life. I was going to say it's so easy. It isn't easy. It takes a lot of practice. So buy yourself a book on mindfulness, sign yourself up for a 6-week course. There are loads and loads of mindfulness information online. On YouTube, there are lots and lots of meditations that you can practice. But for the time being, just for today, just noticing when you're going into that doing mode. Just noticing that you're not noticing. and give yourself a pat on the back for it. Write it down and breathe. Come back to the breath every time. Come back to the breath till you find that you are in the present moment, and carry on again. Keep revisiting the breath each time you find that you've gone off somewhere that's given you thoughts or feelings that you just don't want and you just don't need. It's such a waste of time. Okay, so find yourself a spot where you can lie down, where you won't be disturbed, and we're going to do a short meditation. So, getting yourself comfortable. You can lie down flat on a comfortable surface, or maybe if you prefer, you can just sit in the chair, palms facing upwards. And we're just going to explore what we talked about during the first session on how we use the breath and how we can search the body for signs of tension or stress. So getting yourself as comfortable as you can, closing your eyes. Just know that this is 10 minutes for yourself to recharge and renew, and hopefully be undisturbed. Taking a deep breath now through the nose, and as you breathe out through the mouth, just giving your body permission to completely relax, feeling the shoulders and the neck becoming heavy and just sinking down into the chair or onto the bed, wherever you're sitting or lying. And again, take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Permission for your body to become even more relaxed. And remembering, when your mind starts to travel, bring yourself back to the breath, to the here and now, and then come back to my voice. So I'd just like you to take your imagination or your mind's eye to the top and the back of your head, as if you can explore every area all along the top of the head and down the back of the head. How is that area feeling? Is there any tension? Is there any pain? If there's nothing, just carry on searching, just like you're thinking about your head for the very first time. Then I'd like you to take a deep breath in and send that breath down through the body in a colour, any colour you like. Send that colour down through the top of the head and the back of the head. Just relaxed, just relaxing down through the head and the back. Coming back to the breath. And this time, just sensing and discovering and looking all around the forehead, the eyes, the temples, cheekbones, nose and mouth, all around the jawline. Just searching around this area for any tension. And then take a deep breath in and send that beautiful light right down from the forehead, right down to the jawline. Feeling all the facial muscles becoming soft. Frown lines softening, temple softening, eyebrows just really soft and relaxed. searching now all around the neck, the back and the front of the neck. Just noticing any sensations, anything at all that you sense, even if it's the pulse, anything. Just registering it, taking in a deep breath and breathing that light down into the neck, into the throat. Just feel how that light relaxes this area. So very, very relaxed. Now send your thoughts around the shoulders, both shoulders. Searching for any tension, searching for any sensation that you feel in both of the shoulders. Deep breath in through the nose, and you send that beautiful light down through the body, all around the shoulders. As that light reaches the shoulders, you'll find them becoming so relaxed. You may find now that the shoulders begin to sink lower into the bed and chair as they relax even further. And now send in your mind's eye, your consciousness, your imagination. Just take it down through the top of the chest, under the chest, down through the tummy, the waist, and thinking about all of the organs underneath the rib cage, through the tummy. Just thinking about everything that goes on in our bodies just to keep us alive. Just scan all the area of the tummy and chest and waist. Recognizing the sensations. And then taking that beautiful breath in. And breathe out that beautiful light down through the throat, the chest, right down through the tummy and waist. Just feel the tummy come so relaxed. Just thinking about here and now, what is happening right now in this present moment. If you've found that your mind begins to wander, bring yourself back to the breath, breathing in and out and picking up my voice when you're ready. Thinking now about the back of the shoulders, all the way down the spine, right to the bottom of the spine, and branching out from the spine to the side of the waist, each side of the back and torso, right down into the hips. Just scanning the whole of the back area. Finding any tension, finding sensations, not questioning, just recognizing, just being alert to the sensations that are going on in your body right now. And again, taking that lovely deep breath in, send it down through the throat, all the way down through the back. Watch and feel that beautiful light all around the shoulders, down the spine and around the back and hips, warming, relaxing. Just feel yourself become even more relaxed. And breathe. Take your attention now to the hips and the groins, and down the fronts of the legs, the upper thighs, the backs of the thighs, back in front of your knees, your calves and your shins. Just search out any sensations. Really search them out all through the legs, all through the hips, the knees. And then deep breath in, sending that breath down the throat, and fill those legs with your colour. Let that colour slowly descend down those legs. Slowly, slowly down over the knees, over the shins and calves, and feel how much more relaxed you're becoming. Legs may be feeling slightly more heavy as you begin to let go of tension. Taking the mind's eye down those arms, down the upper arms, back and front, around the elbows, down the forearms and the wrists. Just explore the back and fronts of the hands and the fingers, picking up any sensations at all from the very top of the arms right the way down to the fingertips. Really thinking about those arms, really thinking about the hands. And again, breathing in and sending that light down through the body and down through both arms. Just feel it ever so slowly, working its way over the shoulders, tops of the arms, elbows, forearms, hands and palms and fingers. And relax. And then lastly, just think about your feet, the fronts of the feet, the underside of the feet, your ankles, heels, toes. Think about the many bones in the feet. Thinking about how important our feet are to us. And sensing any discomfort there, any sensations. Just really fill your mind with the sensations of the feet. And taking in that deep breath, send it right down through the body, down through the legs, right down into the feet. As it reaches the ankles on the heels and starts to spread further out the fronts and to the very tips of your toes. And now just try to be aware of your body as a whole. Whole of your body, just as a scan. Think about your light, whatever colour it was. Think about it just hovering at the bottom of your feet. and allow that colour to gently and slowly just move up in front of the body, scanning as it goes. Over the feet, over the shins, knees, thighs, hips, fingertips, hands, lower arms, upper arms, lower tummy and back, up into the middle of the tummy, in the middle of the back, and up and over the chest, scanning through the shoulders, the neck, the back of the head and the face, as that colour just travels all the way to the top of the head. And then allow that colour to just drift up and away. Leaving your body completely relaxed. And knowing that you've scanned every little part of your body, so that you know of any sensation when you've sat and you've breathed into it. And now lastly, taking in another deep breath. As you breathe out, you're just going to wiggle your fingertips slightly. Start to shrug your shoulders, wiggle your toes, taking a few more deep breaths. And when you're ready, just open up your eyes, maybe have a big stretch, put your hands above your head, taking a deep breath, breathe it out through the mouth. And you're ready to go. Well done. Hope you found that interesting. I hope you found some of it of importance that you could practice. Don't forget, you can find lots and lots of details online, as there's much more into mindfulness than what I could give at this short session. Thank you very much. Bye bye everyone.